Hello everybody, welcome to Might and Magic 7. I am Chrysantheme and I'll be your host for this episode. And all the previous ones and all the future ones as well. So, last episode we did some powering up. And now we're going to try and kill a dragon. Which will probably end as well as it sounds. In horrible pain. This is one of the quests that I really dislike. Honestly, this quest is even harder than the next one, like the next promotion quest. It doesn't make sense, to be honest. Like the first quest is to slay a dragon, the first promotion quest.
This doesn't look too dangerous.
I guess you have the. I guess you sort of have the. Crusader to Hero promotion quest in Might and Magic 8 that also involves killing a dragon, but this is the Paladin to Crusader promotion quest. It's like the first quest. Ugh. I mean the first promotion quest. Never mind, enough of my rant. Here we are in Tatalia. This is the place that the dragon resides in. Man, and if only we had some protection from water smells or air. I have no idea what element attack he has. But I guess we're gonna try and wing it. We have shield? Don't even have shield. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I did some powering up. One thing to note about this place that can be used to your advantage. Sort of. Hear me out. Even like resting here would normally be allowed and would be fairly safe because, as you can see, we have the green border. However, in this cave, until you kill the dragon, even if you rest while your portraits are green, you will get ambushed by a single dragon. And you can sort of use that to your advantage by basically resting and killing the dragon if you're strong enough, and then resting again. You can get your hands on some very nice loot, experience, items, etc. So yeah, that's one thing you can do, but that only works until the dragon has been slain. And we're only here for the dragon, so we are going to do that right now. I'm gonna try and circle around and then try to hand-to-hand combat him. I don't think it'll work. One thing that's really annoying is that I actually am sort of, as you can see, I'm sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Sliding down this peak. Ouch. So two of our... Like the cleric is unconscious and that's really not good. Because I want her to heal me. I have regeneration, but regeneration is only good. Regeneration will only get me so far. Hopefully my dragon will miss. And I really want experience on everybody, so... Ouch. 49 damage. Okay, he's running away now. So I'm just gonna quickly move away from him, because he's not gonna regenerate the hit points if I just move away from him. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be a bit, let's call it tactical as opposed to cowardly. I'm going to heal up and then I'm gonna go back and own his face.
That's just a scratch.
Ow.
There we go. We've killed Romthrax. And we are basically Crusaders now. Hurrah, the dragon has fallen. Truly thou art grand Crusaders in good standing, with a fine deed behind thee. I would stay and sing songs of thy bravery with thee, but duty calls. Surely we will meet again, Crusaders. And then there's the hero promotion. Fellow Crusaders, I know thee thirsts for another task with which to hone thy Oh, Jesus Christ. Your texts are so hard to read. But first, thee must pass a far more serious test. Thee must first agree to follow the path of light, yada yada yada. That's basically the gist of it. As you can see, I got myself a nice pair of boots.
Great.
Paladin Boots of the Sky. 10 spell points, speed, and intellect, and that is perfect for our wizard. That is actually the best tier boots, with a fairly nice enchantment. Well, no, not a fairly nice enchantment, a very nice enchantment on them. And that's it. That is really it. We have done the Crusader promotion quest. And I know it doesn't seem like that much, but it is a hard quest nonetheless. Like, you basically have to kill a dragon with, well, only master skills if you have them. So if you don't know what you're doing, that can be a very annoying quest to deal with. Sure, you can, I guess you can just run around him in real time and sort of turn to him and shoot. Sort of the same tactic that we could have used in the beginning, where we had the Emerald Isle Dragon, but that will take us about half an hour longer in double speed, so I really didn't want to do that. But to do it like this, I guess there are a few more spells that you could use, like Haste would have been really useful, just to get my recovery time lower. Then of course Protection from water and from air, because I have no idea what type of elemental damage he has, but it's probably either water or air. Stone Skin would have been useful, Shield. I'm not sure if Shield works with the dragon range attacks. It could work, it could not work. Either way, Shield could be useful. But that's pretty much it. I mean, we had like Blast and Heroism, we had Regeneration, and we had Heal. So yeah, I guess my suggestion, if you're doing this quest, let me just go into turn-based mode so you know time doesn't flow. My suggestion would be to, if you have a sort of mixed party like I have, then I guess you would still be very strong in hand-to-hand combat. And my suggestion would be to run in until you're at hand-to-hand combat range, go into turn-based mode, and then basically have your cleric healing your party while you have the other party members dealing damage. If you have a wizard, use your strongest spell. It doesn't matter if you run out of spell points as soon like in 3 rotations. You just want to get it done over with as soon as possible. So basically have your cleric on healing duty, or any kind of healer you have, be it druid, cleric, monks, if you think they're good enough, and basically have everybody else deal damage. And before you go in, throw all your buffs on, which is basically what you do every single time, but I don't know. Like, I may be reading into it too much, but this is basically what I do. So, okay, let's have a recap what we've done so far. We have done every single promotion quest. We have done all the mainline quests that we can up to this point. We have done pretty much every... I think we've done pretty much all the what's the word I'm looking for? Side quests that we can, without going to Nyon and the Land of Titans and the rest that we need to take a path for. So we don't really have anything left, apart from deciding on a path to take. Now, I'm going to spend a few moments just to talk about the choice. Because the choice matters. The choice matters in the sense that, first of all, you get access to new areas. That isn't different. No matter if you choose the Path of Light or the Path of Dark, you get access to all the areas. Namely, you get access to the Pit, which is the Necromancer side, and you get access to Celeste, which is the sort of Wizard's Archmage Path of Light thingy. it doesn't matter which path you pick, you get access to both of them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the sense that if you pick the path of light, you will be the people in the pit will be hostile to you, and vice versa. That is pretty obvious. But I guess the most important thing to know is that the secondary promotion quest givers are different because you have like a separate guy that will promote you from. Let's use this case of. Or let's go for example. Now that we have wizard, so the sorcerer wizard guy was the same, but then from wizard to archmage, we need to find a different guy to promote us than, from example, from wizard to lich, which is the path of light and path of dark promotions. They're identical, although I guess some of them have some small differences. I think the lich is actually immune to body magic and mind magic. At least that's the case in Might and Magic 8. I'm not sure about this one. But all in all, it's pretty much the same. Like, the Black Knight is the same as the champion, the hero is the same as the villain, the spy is the same as the assassin. I think the only difference there we have is the lich and the archmage. There is one more difference between classes of Path of Light and Path of Dark, which I think is really cool. If you have druids in your party, if you choose the Path of Dark, you have access to the Warlock class, which is Great Druid to Warlock instead of Archdruid, and the quest involves getting a dragon egg, which then you hatch into a familiar, and the familiar will basically regenerate spell points of your warlocks in your party, which is kind of cool. It's not a serious buff, but I've never had one, and it seems like a cool thing to have. I think it also buffs like the personality and intellect of your druids or something like that, and that is something the Archdruid doesn't have. Just a heads up. If that could be a point of contest for your decision. The most important thing to note about choosing a side, though, is you will restrict yourself, or you will only enable yourself one magic. If you choose the Path of Light, that will be light magic. If you choose Path of Dark, that will be dark magic. And there are pros and cons to basically both of them. The Path of Light is an incredibly strong buffing and healing magic school, whereas the Dark Magic school has the most powerful direct damage spells in the game. Now, what you choose is basically up to you. You can do with either of them. You can do with none of them if you're running a hand-to-hand heavy or physical damage heavy party, for example, all archers, because I think the only classes that can actually learn light and dark magic are the clerics and the sorcerers. I'm not sure about all the other classes. Maybe druids can start with dark magic. I'm not entirely sure about that one. But what you should choose is basically up to you. Now, for this playthrough, I'm actually going to go for Path of Light. Now, there are a few reasons behind that. Reason number one is I find my playstyle, at least with this type of party, revolves a lot around buffing myself up and then going in guns blazing in hand-to-hand combat. And light magic is very, very good for that, because it has very strong buffing spells. The second reason is I will probably be doing another playthrough of Might and Magic 7. That is not 100% sure, and I don't know when I'm going to be doing it. When I'll do it. Sorry, I've been talking for so long that I'm losing my words and my sentences and everything. So I will probably be doing another playthrough of Might and Magic 7 sometime in the future. And that will be my cleric, sorcerer, sorcerer, sorcerer setup, just to show you, that part of the game. And that that party setup is basically ideal for dark magic or Path of Dark, for the Path of Dark story. And the third reason is if I had to choose between the two, and if there wouldn't be any differences, I would always choose the Path of Light because I get a new border. As you can see, we have a sort of plain stone looking one, and when you choose Path of Light, you get a nice sleek sort of bluish white marble border in inventory, and it's way more pleasant to look at than the Path of Dark one, which is a sort of black and red marbled one, and it's nicer. So yeah, those are actually my three reasons that I will be choosing Path of Light. Do note that the game is complete. You can complete the game without a problem using any sort of party, having with and choosing basically either side. So I guess it comes down to personal preference. I have my gameplay reasons as well, at least for this party. I do want to emphasize, however, that this party setup would be very good in Path of Dark as well, because you still have a cleric that can do all the buffing, albeit it will be a bit weaker than if you would do it with light magic. And you would still have access to two Grandmaster Dark Magic casters, which means your cleric will be dealing an absurd amount of damage in hand-to-hand combat, as well as your Lich. So yeah, I guess what I could do still is I could go for example, the Path of Light and Path of Dark with the same party, but just different playthroughs. That is also one option, but for now I'm going to decide against that. I'm going to finish this playthrough with Path of Light. I'm going to put a save spot right before I choose my my ambassador, and maybe I'll give it some thought, and maybe I'll complete the game with this party on Path of Dark as well. Anyway, that's enough. That's way enough, or too much of me rambling. So let's do it like this. I'm gonna save the game. And here's how I save my games. I always put like the initials of the classes I'm using for the playthrough. For example, this is Knight, Thief, Cleric, Sorcerer, and these were just a playthrough of 4 knights, and I chose the Path of Dark. So I'm going to go for Knight, Thief, Cleric, Sorcerer, Neutral. Here. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go to the Bracada Desert. And the one above it is Knight, Thief, Cleric, Sorcerer, Light. That's a playthrough that I was doing, well, earlier in my spare time, which was basically just a normal playthrough for me. Like I said, I've played this game, so many times already. Let me just touch this. I already touched this, possibly. Maybe? Did I touch this already?
Ow.
I got a bit too stuck in between everybody. Okay, so I need to go to the inn, and the inn is somewhere here?
Special brew is just for you.
Edmund's Ampules. I think this is either the Water Magic Guild or the inn.
Welcome to the water.
So this is the Water Magic Guild. This could... no, I think that's the inn.
Come on in.
There we go. Judge Fairweather. I choose you, like a Pokemon. A wise decision. You won't regret this, believe me. I knew we were going to make this decision, and my bags are already packed and ready to go. All you need to do now is get me to my new home, and I'll take care of the rest. So yes, I am going to be choosing the Path of Light. I don't know, just in general. Like, here's the thing. In games, I'm usually way more inclined to be the good guy than to be the bad guy. I usually always choose, righteous paths or whatever in any game, just because that's the sort of guy I am. But I think I had a rant in my previous episode about how they usually make necromancers in games. You know, they make them they pretty much always make them the bad guys. You know, the Bond villains, I think I called them. And that's why I like games that have a different perspective on necromancy in particular. Because I understand demons being bad guys, but necromancers, you know, they can be good guys. They don't need to be skeleton-raising evildoers. You know, why not be the keepers of the balance? Just a thought. Anyway, this is literally the only thing I have left to do is to go inside. Now there's going to be a quick cutscene. Unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see it because Fraps doesn't record cutscenes for some reason, at least not in this game. I'll give you the gist of it though, so let's just go through it.
Perhaps we should draw the line here.
That certainly doesn't seem fair to me. How about here?
Wait, how about this? A toast, my friends, to peace. To peace.
It's hard to believe we were fighting each other when we all know who the real enemy is.
There we go. Okay, so first thing you may have noticed, the nice little border that I was talking about. It's so slick. You have made the wise choice, my lords. Gavin Magnus, the leader of the wizards, would like to speak with you. Go to the Bracada Desert. The teleporter to Celeste will function now and use it to enter Celeste. Gavin awaits you in Castle Lambent. Time is precious, don't waste it dallying around. He basically has the same, like Judge Fairweather has the same function as Judge Grey did before he before he died. Which if you lose any quest item, you will get it. He gives you hints. That's pretty much it. Anyway, what happened in that scene was we had Queen Catherine, we had the Elf King, I think, what's Eldritch Percival? Perry? Elf King. We had those two, and we had Judge Fairweather, the judge that we have chosen. And basically they were trying to decide where the border should lie, and of course when Queen Catherine drew it, the elf didn't like it, and when the elf drew it, Queen Catherine didn't like it, so then Judge Fairweather basically comes in and draws a line in between those two lines. It's the most cliche kind of thing, and they all decide on it, and you know, they were like happy living ever after. And if you choose the dark side, the Arbiter does nothing, there's war, and then the next cutscene is basically the Necromancers running around resurrecting troops for their army, and it's like, meh. Anyway, as you can see, we have a nice little bluish-white border here, a new inventory, and it's, in my opinion, it's a lot more pleasing to the eye than the border of Path of Dark is. It gets really dark. For example, it's basically this color. Right? It's black with, you know, red in between, and it's fairly difficult to make out some things, so yeah. If I'm just choosing with nothing to go on, for example, no light magic, no dark magic, and no differences in between them, I usually go for Path of Light, purely because I like the aesthetics better. But yeah, that was basically it, guys. We started our first step on the Path of Light. I'm going to make a separate save for the Path of Light, like I made it for the Path of Neutral, or the Neutral Path, whatever. And if I choose to decide on Path of Dark, I'm going to be playing it basically from this point onwards, with another playthrough later though. But this was it for this episode. Yeah, we did we basically made our first step into the end game, because what it means now that we have chosen a path is we basically unlocked the second promotion for all our classes. So now we can go from Cavalier to Champion, we can go from Rogue to Spy, from Priest to Priest of Light, and from Wizard to Archmage by doing the quest that we need to. and also we can progress with the main story, which is what we'll be doing later. I think you've listened to me enough for this one episode of gameplay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed, guys. We did make a slight progress, like I said. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If not, I'll see you here next time, hopefully. Bye bye!